I tell this to everyone. If you have a dream and if it's something crazy and outlandish, you might want to pivot a bit and make your dream work. Stick with it.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good night, Vinnie Tortorich. Previously, episode 103 of the 12-Minute Convo podcast. That was recorded 2 years, 9 months, 3 days, and 30 minutes ago.
The most important thing we do in life is not your IQ, but your FQ, your failure quotient. We never sit around and talk about our successes. We talk about our failures because those failures are what made us successful.
Vinnie, it's a great pleasure to connect with you. Tell us, what's new in your world?
First off, Angel, I want you to know you do so many podcasts and you remember what my room looked like and you said, wait a minute, it doesn't look the same. It's hard to believe that you remembered that. So kudos on you, man. I don't know how you do that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, my friend, you were definitely one of the special ones. I remember our conversation just like it was yesterday. You do carry a high energy with everything you're doing. Well, at least what I knew you were doing back then. Tell us, what's going on?
Still do the same thing. I don't think I have as many podcasts as you. I think we're at 1,400. We do 5 a week. Back then, I was probably still talking about my book, Fitness Confidential. But believe it or not, we have a movie coming out at the end of July. It's up for pre-order right now. It went up for pre-order a few days ago. It's called Fat, a documentary. We have worldwide distribution, so you guys will get it in Trinidad.
That's great.
And it'll be all over the world. It's going out by Gravitas Ventures. And right now it's on iTunes and Vimeo. And by the time this show comes out, unless you put it out later this evening, it's going to be up for pre-sale on Amazon and Blu-ray and all that. So very exciting stuff going on here.
So FAT, right? Just fat.
Yeah,
is the name
fat.
of it.
We're talking about fat and how we got fat and how fat should not be demonized in the world. We should eat more fat to get healthy. And it's a very interesting movie. Everyone wanted it. We made a deal with Gravitas and it's going to be out on airplanes and schools and all over the internet and everywhere, anywhere you can find movies.
Oh, congratulations. Now, I am one of those guys that go by the keto diet. And is it surrounding that type of conversation?
It is, and we didn't just go after that. I wasn't doing a propaganda film. I got the top experts from around the world. You probably know some of these people if you're into keto. We got Gary Taubes, Nina Teicholz. We got Dr. Eric Westman, the godfather of the Atkins diet.
Sweet.
And we got Dr. Brett Shear and Dr. Jeffrey Gerber and Dave Feldman and Ivor Cummins. And it was like a rogues gallery of the top people. And we did not tell them what to say. We just turned the camera on and said, talk.
That's amazing.
And, I guided them with 3 or 4 or 5 questions. We got all of these interviews and put together this movie. And, like I said, I was shocked. I'm humbled when it came out on iTunes just a few short days ago. Even though it's up for pre-order, it went to number 2 behind Apollo 11, and everything else was behind it. It was just crazy that people just started buying this thing up like hotcakes.
I'm not surprised though. I'll tell you. I've seen some of the stuff you've been doing. When you get behind the project, don't you, Vinnie?
I try to. I'm still somewhat of a one-man show. I don't even let my assistant come to my office. My assistant is in Colorado, which because you travel the United States, is several states over from me, but I don't need to have my assistant here. I talk to her every day. I have another office in Beverly Hills for our vitamin company and our coffee company, but I just concentrate on health and fitness and diet and exercise. And that's all I've done my entire life.
Well, one of the things you said when we first spoke is when you find something that works, you keep repeating it. How does it feel like looking back from now to then to see the repetition and the value it's brought to your life?
It's amazing. Like I said, I started off doing podcasts like 7.5 years ago. People didn't even know what they were back then. If someone would have told me that, I would have had a best-selling book and now this movie. And my co-host, Anna Vocino, is now on cookbook number 2. The first one sold like hotcakes, and now she's on number 2. If someone would have told me all of this would happen, the fact that I would have enough money from a single book to create my own vitamin company, purevitaminclub.com, and from that, purecoffeeclub.com. If someone would have told me all of that, I would have said, that doesn't even make sense to me. I could never do all that. But the computer allows all of that to happen.
Yeah, it's really amazing what you can do with the technology. I think you older folks have the advantage on us though, because we have the power of the technology, but the wisdom is something that comes from the experience, and it's different to know something, and it's different to hear of something, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I think experience and age, helps a lot. Yeah, there's something to be said for that. And I worry, I know I shouldn't worry, but I worry about the younger generation because I think, they want instant gratification. And because that's the world they grew up in. Hey, I want something, I just go and Google and I find it, and Amazon will deliver it right to my doorstep. And that's the world they have. My daughter's like that. She just graduated college, and they do everything just instantaneously. And my career, people are calling me an overnight success, except it took me 40 years to get here.
Yeah, when we spoke, your daughter was attending University of Virginia. I'm glad that to hear that she completed that.
She did. She graduated. She got into Duke's to become a lawyer, and she got a scholarship there. She got a scholarship to UVA to go to their law school, and she got into Harvard,
Wow.
which is like mind-boggling to me. And it's like Harvard. My kid. How does that even happen? Well, she's my stepkid, so she doesn't have my brain. She has her mother and father's brain. And, I'm so proud of her, and I'm so happy she chose to go to law school at the same school she started at. So she will be at UVA in the fall. And we're all very, very proud of her.
Now unpack for us again the failure quotient.
Wow, you do remember everything. You had to go back and listen to that episode.
Of course I did.
Look, whenever I get together with my friends, and a lot of my friends are very successful, more successful than I am. But I think it's important to always surround yourself with really smart, successful people. And I came up with this theory called the FQ, the failure quotient, because whenever I'm around my successful friends and we're enjoying a scotch, we never talk about our successes. None of them do. I don't, neither do they. We all talk about everything we failed at. Because the failures are what makes everyone successful. And I don't even think they know they're doing it. It's just something I picked up on. They'll say, man, that time that I tried this project or I wrote that script and I thought that script was going to be the one that was going to make me famous in Hollywood. Yet it was this other script. And had I not failed on that, I wouldn't have found success over here. The only reason I started succeeding was because my training business started failing because we had a writer's strike in Hollywood and we had a bad economy and everybody became a trainer that year. And all of a sudden, I couldn't make the same living I used to make. So I was just sitting around twiddling my thumbs. And my friend who was a writer said, you need to write a book. And I kept telling him, no, I don't have time to write a book. I need to go figure out how to make a dollar. I need to pay my bills. And he said, no, you have a book in you and you don't realize that you should be writing that book. And as soon as I settled down enough and thought about that, I was able to do it. And that book, Fitness Confidential, changed my life overnight.
Hmm. It's amazing, my friend. It's amazing what you can accomplish. It's amazing what stopping, interestingly, right? Like slowing down can create. I've spoken with one guy today, and I was expressing that to him. Hey, sometimes you're hitting too much. Like sometimes you need to stop, and I think it kind of slides into something you shared as well in that conversation, where you were expressing shooting. Like shooting is like your meditation then, and I think it's really a metaphor, isn't it? Like slowing down, breathing properly, aiming at the target, as well as the failure that can occur, but more so the ability to slow down to hit the target. Would you agree?
I said that years ago. I've been saying that my whole life. People say to me all the time, why do you go out to the trap range and you shoot hundreds of rounds, it comes to thousands of rounds per month. Once you put those earphones on, so you're blocking out the rest of the world, I then get to go into my own little world, and I don't think about anything else because nothing else matters except trying to succeed at something that won't make me a dime. As a matter of fact, it cost me a lot of dimes to do it, right? But taking that time to relax and get away from my desk and go out to the shooting range, and it's out in the mountains and it's this beautiful place. And all I'm doing is just like the same guy that goes to play golf on the weekends, in order to do well at it, you have to block everything else out. If you just had a fight with your wife, if your business partner just told you you're losing money or whatever, if you just block all of that out and just do the task at hand, and if you can succeed at that task of hitting the golf ball or hitting the clay that's flying through the air, now you've succeeded at something, and you can now open yourself up to, okay, I just succeeded at something, right? Even though it didn't put a dime in my pocket. Now what else can I succeed at, right?
Love that. Love that. Well, Vinnie, my friend, I want to take the time right now to say thank you for being who you are, for being true to your own unique real self. It's now been the foundation of the podcast, these conversations, and getting to come back full circle a couple of years after to hear you say that it is worth it. I am very appreciative of that. In closing, my friend, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Yeah, I tell this to everyone. If you have a dream, and if it's something crazy and outlandish, you might want to pivot a bit and make your dream work. So if you have a dream, stick with it and don't just stay married to the original idea. Sometimes you have to pivot. And that's all I did. I pivoted just a bit. I'm still in the same business. I'm still helping and training people, but I pivoted. And that pivot allowed me to continue doing what I love.
Love it. Vinnie Tortorich again, my friend. Thank you for being on what is inspired by 12-minute convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.